Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Juggernaut stuff coming down the road. Hello everyone, this is Kogus coming at you with another part of our Ultimate Juggernaut Vengeance PvP guide. Today we're going to be looking at the discipline path of the Vengeance Juggernaut. Alright, so this is small but very important thing. So at level 10 you are granted Shatter. Channels the force into your lightsaber and crushes your target under its weight, instantly dealing X amount of weapon damage. For me, it's 9,143 to 9,730 internal damage, with a further 31,266 internal damage over 12 seconds. This is going to be your primary dot. It's going to come over here and see it right there. So this is your primary dot. You learned this at level 10. Okay, and then after that, this is going to be a passive. This used to be an active buff, but they've since put it in the background. So this is Xian form, utilizing an aggressive lightsaber form, increases all damage dealt by 6% and movement speed by 15%. All attacks that consume rage will refund 1 rage when used. So you start to get a little bit of a refund when you start using your abilities. So this is a passive. There's nothing really extra to do there, nothing really extremely noticeable there. So now we move on to level 16 Bloodbath. Smash and Vengeful Slam spread your bleed effects to all targets they damage. If at least one of these targets is already affected by your bleeds, in addition, Sweeping Slash deals 25% more damage to bleeding targets. Okay, so this one is very important because this keeps on going and is big for when you're into PvP matches, when you're attacking mobs, anybody else. You actually want to be attacking the higher level or the higher difficulty, the mob or boss that you're going for, the person with the most HP, because when you smash and when we use Vengeful Slam, your dot from that person is actually going to go to the other targets in the area. That's why a lot of people will say you want to do ... Shatter, Impale, Force Scream, Smash. So it's ... smash, ... smash. If you can. If your primary target, though, is about to die, what you want to do is you want to make sure you put at least 2 dots up. If he's about to die, go ahead, hit the smash so you can spread those 2 dots to the next target, so those dots aren't just wasted on a dead target. Okay, your next one is going to be Rampage. Shatter finishes the active cooldown of Ravage and generates 3 rage. So now your Shatter is going to be the first ability that you learn. Now it's starting to get a little bit more important. This was covered in my rotation video where I discussed how you can use your Shatter reset on Ravage a little bit more. If you are a fan, which I am not, of your Ravage route, this is kind of big for that one because, you know, you're able to root your target multiple times. I just find it not as good for Warmonger because, well, reasons in the skill tree that we'll cover up soon. Alright, then Draining Scream. So Force Scream causes the target to bleed for 9,765 internal damage for over 6 seconds. So now Draining Scream at level 24 has changed your Force Scream into a dot. So that's why we're talking about, you know what, get all 3 dots. And finally, you get your final dot, Impale, at level 26. Impales the target for X amount of damage. For me, it is 24,210 damage to 26,143 weapon damage. So that is going to be far more upfront damage than my Shatter, but the dot that comes up behind it isn't as powerful. So just know this is going to be your upfront damage, but overall this one your Shatter will do more damage than Impale. However, Impale's upfront damage is uncontested for Vengeance Juggernauts. Next, we're looking at Ruin. Reduces the cooldown of Smash and Vengeful Slam by 6 seconds. And both abilities no longer consume rage, so that's why you're able to go ahead and use your Slam without being in combat. And later on we'll see how it builds that stack of Savagery. Alright. Oh, look at that. Melee attacks deal 5% damage, and the damage dealt by Ravage is increased by additional 5%. So that's a Ravager. Nothing really crazy there. It's a passive. You don't really need to worry about it. Next, we're looking at Vengeance, which reduces the cooldown of Impale by 6 seconds and Force Scream by 3 seconds. Alright, so you're kind of seeing how leveling up is going to help you out with your primary abilities. Until then, you're going to be using your Slash and your basic attack kind of to fill in when these other abilities are all on their longer cooldowns. Alright, now we're looking at Eviscerate, which causes Impale to bleed the target for 10,136 internal damage. This would be X amount for your own over 6 seconds, and beats the target down for 45 seconds. Beat down targets take 5% more damage from melee attacks. So this is at level 40, your Impale turns into a dot. Again, 10,000 damage compared to the 31,000 damage from your Shatter. Still not strong enough, so you always want to have your Shatter up, and it's going to be there. All three, your Force Scream, Impale, Shatter at level 40 are now dots, so you are good to go. Dot, 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 smash while you're leveling. Alright, and then we're going to be getting Hue. Hue replaces Vicious Throw, and it hurls the main hand target, dealing X amount of damage. So it's 23,520 damage to 25,405 damage, and slows its movement speed by 50% for 3 seconds. Only usable on targets at or below 30% maximum health. So at level 42 you get this, so you'll only be use it at targets that are below 30% health. However, we'll see about that. More details to come later. Alright, moving down along, you get Sundering Throw. Reduces the cooldown of Saber Throw for 5 seconds and causes the Saber Throw to sunder its targets for 45 seconds. Sundered targets have their armor rating reduced by 20%. So that's why I decided to open up with a Saber Throw. It builds rage and armor rating reduced by 20%. Fantastic. Alright, next we're going to be looking at Force Charge. Grants Brawn. Very important right here. This is very important for you PvPers. It provides immunity to interrupts, stuns, knockbacks, and incapacitating effects for 4 seconds. Additionally, during this time, damage reduction is increased by 20%. So, this is why I love to take Warmonger, because getting attacked reduces the active cooldown of Force Charge by 1 second. This effect cannot occur more than once every 1.5 seconds. Your Force Charge leap cooldown is about 14 seconds. You can actually bring this down to about 8 seconds. So almost every 8 or 9 seconds you get a 20% damage reduction for 4 seconds. That's pretty big. That's going to be huge for PvP, especially when you're being one of the first person targets. It's always better to kite away, leap back in to get this Brawn buff. That's going to be huge in PvP, and we can go more in depth than that. Alright, looking now back, we're going to get Savagery. Shatter, Impale, Hue, and Vengeful Slam increase the critical chance of your next Force Scream by 50%. It lasts for 15 seconds, stacks up to 2 times. This is something I covered in my rotation video. We hit a slam, now we're getting that stack of Savagery. Alright, Force Scream. Now it's going to light up after this next one. Bam, there's Savagery, and there's Force Scream ready to auto-crit. Alright, now moving on, at level 56, we're going to get Deafening Defense. Increases damage reduction by 5% at all times and by additional 50% while Endure Pain is active. So, your Endure Pain, you are going to get a little bit of a passive buff to your damage reduction by 15%. Honestly, I don't even notice this. It's a passive, so just know that, you know what, you are going to take a little bit less damage. Alright, moving along, at level 58, you're going to get Vengeful Slam. Replaces your smash and has a pretty cool animation right here. And you slap that floor with it. That's a really cool stuff. Okay. So, Vengeful Slam slams your weapon on the ground, causing a force-empowered shockwave that deals X amount of damage. So it is 19,591 damage to 20,089 energy damage for up to 8 enemies within 5 meters. So stuns weak and standard enemies for 3 seconds. This is important because your Vengeful Slam is your dot spreader. And so with this, it tells us that within 5 meters. So all of your targets have to be within 5 meters of your slam in order for it to get affected by the dots. And moving along, we get Destroyer here. Increases the damage dealt by your bleeding effects by 15%. In addition, your Ravage and Bleed damage have a 30% chance to trigger Destroyer, which finishes the cooldown on Hue and makes your next Hue consume no rage. Usable on a target with any health level, this effect cannot occur more than once every 20 seconds. So now, your Hue is going to be one of your, I believe, your second highest damage, upfront damage, behind your Shatter, or no, Impale. And it is going to be very strong, and you can use this at any health. And you know what? It does pop quite often. Keep your eyes on it, and you'll be able to get that going. Remember, it only occurs once every 20 seconds. So keep an eye on it, and use it as soon as you can. At level 64, we are granted Gushing Veins, increases the critical chance of Shatter, Vengeful Slam, and bleeding effects by 10%. That's always good. Internal damage is phenomenal for the Juggernaut, especially for Vengeance, because that's pretty much where all of our damage comes from on our dots. And finally, at level 68, we are getting Bloodmaster for each of your bleeding effects active on an enemy target. You deal 5% more bleed damage, up to a maximum of 15% more bleed damage, while Shatter, Draining Scream, and Eviscerate are each bleeding. So you want to have all 3 of your dots up on a target and maximize your DPS. However, in PvP, that can be very difficult. So just do your best, get those slams in, get those dot spreads in, get those hues in as well. And don't forget to Ravage before your Shatter if you are using your Overwhelm, so that you can use Ravage again from that Shatter respec. But that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you all for coming and hanging out, and I'll catch you guys next time.